If you ask Steven Seagal fans what his best film is, most would say Under Siege. But it's not. Hell, it's not even his second best film. And in this breakdown of his top 5, I'll tell you exactly why and what's above it. Let's talk about the elephant in the room first. His run from 1988 to 1997 was amazing. 10 years of straight up bangers. Awesome films back to back to back. And if you're a fan of action films, there's something in there for you to watch and enjoy. And in this top 5 list, I'm sure I left a few off. Stick with me and I'll talk about those before I get to number 1. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Coming in at number 5, I have a film that came right at the end of his first 10-year run, Fire Down Below. In this film, he plays Jack Taggart, an EPA agent who has to go to Appalachia country to investigate the murder of his partner and also see what's going on with the local mining operation and the way that they're dumping toxic material into the waters and into the environment there. This film is ridiculous on all accounts. It's basically like On Deadly Ground, the same eco-warrior energy, but I think a bit of a better film. The cast is better, the acting, the action sequences, the plot. But what I want to talk to you about in this film is the amazing jackets he wears. There's, I think, at least 4 different jackets that he wears throughout the film. And depending on the scene, they randomly change for some reason. Like one, he'll be wearing like a normal black leather one. Then he'll be wearing like a tan one with tassels. And I don't know what this jacket is, but he wears the hell out of it. Again, it's just Seagal whooping ass. So if you like that kind of stuff, I think you'll really enjoy Fire Down Below. And at number 4, I have the film that gave him his start, Above the Law, or Nico. Now, you may be surprised that it's this low, but in reality, this was his first film. He was really raw. He was brought in, actually a true story, that his former Aikido pupil said that he could make anyone a star, and he just decided to make Steven Seagal a star. So he brought him in, and this was his debut. In this film, he plays Nico, a former CIA specialist who is now a Chicago vice cop who is working to stop the flow of drugs into the city. I think this is one of Seagal's better films in terms of the craft of the film, the acting, the performances, the action sequences, the overall plot coherency. It just kind of works, and this was his first film. I imagine he was really actually trying hard on this film because, you know, he was a nobody at this point. There's some great fight scenes in this. I love him going to the bar and whooping ass. That's a staple of his films. He always ends up in a bar whooping ass for some reason. The running scenes, like, I don't know what he's doing here, but look at him running. Look at his arms flailing about. I have no idea why he runs like that. Why couldn't someone work with him and make him run a little better? I don't know. I think my favorite piece of information from this film came with Steven Seagal saying this film was semi-biographical and that he was actually a CIA agent, a martial arts instructor for them. It's just funny that he would say that. And in my mind, I like to imagine him being hired by the CIA and training them and then like throwing people around for no reason. It's just silly and goofy to me, but I think I'm going to choose to believe it because it's funny. Number 3 is going to be a bit of a shock to you all. I have the 2-time Oscar-nominated film Under Siege. Now, if you ask most people, this is going to be Seagal's best film. But the reason I have it at number 3 and not number 1 is this film is so good because of the rest of the cast, not because of Steven Seagal.
Do I look like I need a psychological evaluation?
Not at all.
Steven Seagal, his normal self here, he's a former Navy SEAL who is now a cook on this ship, whatever, and he whoops ass and he saves the day like always. But the rest of the cast is what really makes this film. You have Tommy Lee Jones, Gary Busey, Cole Meany. I mean, come on, these are some pretty legit actors in this film, and they really elevate it from a standard Seagal movie to something that people described as Die Hard on a ship. And if you actually look at the film, Tommy Lee Jones actually has more screen time than Steven Seagal. So that's a little crazy. And it makes sense because, come on, I like Steven Seagal as much as the next guy, but if you're talking about acting chops, Tommy Lee Jones is going to be a little bit higher than him. Tagging along with him is Erica Eleniak playing Jordan Tate, a Playboy playmate who was brought on this ship for the captain's going away and retirement party. And she tags along and shoots some guns and looks pretty and hot. And boy, do we get some eye candy. Now, I can't show that clip on YouTube, but you all know what I'm talking about. When I was a young kid, that scene played in my mind on loop. This film has everything you would want in an action film. The actors, the action sequences, the believability of like someone taking over the ship and having nuclear warheads. They are the ones who make this movie. They are the ones who elevate it. And because of that, that's why I have it at number 3 and not at number 1. Because at number 1, I want a Seagal movie that's super Seagal. And you'll know exactly what I mean when I talk about them.
Fire control.
Of course, the fire control. Yes, chips and dips on the weather deck.
And if that take really got to you, the top 2 really get good. And it's the whole reason I made this list. So do me a favor, follow and subscribe to the channel because I have a lot more of these rankings to come. Okay, at number 2, I have Steven Seagal's second film, Hard to Kill. Now, the reason I have it at number 2 is not because it's this well-made action film with amazing sequences. This film is freaking hilarious in the worst kinds of ways. It's like one of those so bad it's good films because there's so much ridiculous stuff that happens in this film. He discovers some evidence about a politician and he is assassinated, or so they think. In fact, he's just wounded and in a coma. And we cut to 7 years from now, and his real wife at the time, Kelly LeBrock, is his nurse. Here's the first ridiculous scene. She's taking care of him, and she lifts his blanket and looks down at his dick, and she's like, boy, you have a lot to live for, and you gotta wake up. Please wake up.
Besides, you've got so much to live for. Please wake up.
Bruh, like, there's no way the screenwriter or the director put that in there. It had to be Steven Seagal. I can just imagine the board meeting, whether the run through of the script or the table reading. He's like, look, I need a scene of me laying there, my wife looking at my dick and telling it how big it is. And it's like, classic Steven Seagal. He spends the rest of the first half of the film healing himself because he's coming out of a coma. His muscles have atrophied. So he's doing acupuncture and running and tribal medicines and herbalism and different things like that to heal, which is also ridiculous. There's an awesome henchman named Quintero who's just beasting and chasing him and trying to kill him. I think my favorite silly section in this film is when he's remembering a quote that the politician said in the video recording because he can't see who it was. And then he hears a local advertisement for the politician where he says that same catchphrase, you can take that to the bank. And he remembers and he puts them together. And then you see him sitting there putting it together in a room with a TV that's turned off. And then he thinks and he turns to the camera. He's like, I'll send you to the bank, Senator Trent, to the blood bank. And then he's like, dun, dun, dun. And then it pulls out and you can see him sitting there staring at a TV that's off. And in my mind, I'm thinking, is this dude just sitting in this room talking to himself, staring at an empty TV? What is going on in this film?
I'm gonna take you to the bank, Senator Trent. To the blood bank.
There's some awesome fight scenes in this film. He always goes to people's businesses and destroys everything. Early in the film, he's stopping a robbery, and of course, he destroys the place. And then later in the film, he goes to fight and kill the people who are involved in this conspiracy. And it's like another pool table, and he's fighting some guy with pool sticks again. And he delivers this amazing line.
That's for my wife. Fuck you and die.
Now, come on, how can you not like that? This is like grade A, like Oscar-winning screenwriting right here, okay? This is Steven Seagal at his best. Now, before I go to my number 1 film, let's talk about the films I left off. First of all, you will see there's no machete and there is no executive decision on this film. Yes, Steven Seagal appears in those films. No, they are not Steven Seagal films in my opinion. He has a very small role in both films. The one film I was almost putting on this list, but I just moved right down below, is Marked for Death. I think this is a great film. He plays someone who is marked for death by this Jamaican gang, and he has to fight. There's some awesome scenes in the mall and some other things going on. But, you know, it's a top 5 list, so hard decisions have to be made. And my number 1 film definitely deserves its spot here, and that film is Out for Justice. Steven Seagal plays Gino, a New York police detective whose partner is killed by a local gangster called Richie. And the rest of the film is Steven Seagal going after this guy who killed his partner and trying to figure out why he did it and how to stop him and get to him before the mafia does, because they want to put an end to him as well, because he's just a loose cannon. He is running around town causing all sorts of havoc. He doesn't care about anything. William Forsythe, who plays Richie, is an absolute swine pig hog in this film. He does not give two damns about anything. He's just running around causing chaos, killing people in broad daylight. He don't care about nothing. He is so fun to watch. He's such an absolute pig in this film. And this film has some awesome scenes. Again, Seagal ends up in someone's business and destroys it again by whooping people's ass. And then again, he ends up in a bar and he's just whooping ass. There's another scene where he's fighting someone with pool cues, and he's actually fighting someone who named Sticks. They're like, go get him, Sticks. And they're doing kung fu and stuff with pool sticks. But he's so belligerent in this film. Like everywhere he goes, he's just like bullying people and talking up to them and just pushing them around and being an absolute hog as well. William Forsythe chews the scenery in this. He steals the show. So much so that when Steven Seagal looked at the film after it was done, he did a recut to tone down some of William Forsythe's speaking parts because he was being overshadowed. And it's like, yeah, of course you are. That's William Forsythe. He's an amazing actor. This film has everything you would want. It was recut because it was too violent. I do think it's one of his more violent films, and it's just a fun damn movie to watch. And that's why I have it number one, because it has everything a Steven Seagal movie should.
You're the boxer?
Yeah.
You're a tough guy.
Yeah, tough enough.
Really? What could you do?
To you?
Yeah.
So there you go. There's my top 5 Steven Seagal films of all time. Now, if you look at this list, yes, everything is from his first decade, because let's be honest, everything after 1997, with the exception of maybe Exit Wounds, was pretty much straight up trash. And he got fat, and he got ridiculous, and he got old, and he got lazy, and the films became straight to DVD, and they were just awful, and the less said about them, the better. But his first 10-year run, for action fans, amazing. So there you go. We have Fire Down Below, Above the Law, Under Siege, Hard to Kill, and my favorite, Out for Justice. But which of these 5 films would you take off and put in Marked for Death, or maybe Under Siege 2, or maybe Glimmer Man, or one of his other films? Let me know in the comments, and as always, subscribe to the channel. Continue coming back, because I have more of these awesome reviews, rankings, and other discussions coming up. Until next time, stop scrolling, start watching.